The strikingly beautiful lighthouse in St. Augustine, Florida, was built to be a showpiece, and it still is today. The first thing visitors notice is the fancy, swirling black and white striped, red-topped paint job that graces the tower.
That's called the Daymark, and each Daymark was assigned to each station by the U.S. Lighthouse Service so that you could tell them apart. It is called a black and white barber pole stripe with a red lantern. And the lantern is actually the entire top of the lighthouse that sits on top of the tower.
The fancy stripes and colorful lantern aren't the only things that set this lighthouse apart. The other differences have to do with the architect who designed the structure and the man who put modern St. Augustine on the map, wealthy industrialist Henry Flagler.
And it's interesting that this lighthouse was designed by Paul Pels, who actually designed the U.S. Library of Congress, considered to be the most beautiful building in Washington. And he designed it in the 1800s for ladies with those big hoop skirts to climb, because this was Flagler's town. And he knew that Flagler had a lot of influential friends that came here. So the spaces inside are much bigger. There are 8 landings to stop and rest on. And that deck is huge compared to most lighthouses, and it was done for that purpose.
Visitors enter the St. Augustine Lighthouse through a smaller masonry structure called the Oil House. Inside, you'll find the lighthouse keeper's office, packed with the tools and objects required to keep the light on 365 days a year. You'll also get a sense of the massive quantities of heavy oil the keepers had to carry up the stairs every day to fuel the light. Adjacent to the tower stands the brick duplex which served as the keepers' quarters. Inside are exhibits about the lives of the keepers, for whom this job was a good assignment.
But this was pretty good duty as lighthouse keepers go, because you could have been stationed 5 miles offshore in the northeast, somewhere on a rock in the middle of the ocean.
And in the basement stands a model of a former Spanish-built structure that preceded the current lighthouse. You can see the smaller fourth-order Fresnel lens that once lit the way into the harbor. One of the most unique things about the St. Augustine Lighthouse is an organization called LAMP, which stands for Lighthouse Archaeological Maritime Program. A small team of professional marine archaeologists, aided by a crew of university students and volunteers, regularly recovers artifacts from the many shipwrecks in St. Augustine's harbor, including what's believed to be a ship carrying British loyalists evacuating Charleston, South Carolina at the end of the American Revolution.
Today has just been a fabulous day and really kind of unprecedented. But today it was unreal. We found a coin. We think we can see a profile of King George. It looks like a British coin. We found a button that has the number 74 on it, so we believe that means it's a military button from the British 74th Regiment. So today was just fantastic. You don't have many days like this in archaeology. We do a lot of our work outside where visitors can see it. You know, as soon as the archaeologists made the discoveries, they got to participate as well. So that's pretty neat thing for an archaeologist.
The combination of the lighthouse climb, the museum, and the active archaeology make the St. Augustine Lighthouse one of the best historic attractions of its kind in the nation.